I found the email by accident. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for our insurance information on my husband's laptop when a notification popped up. A hotel confirmation. The Seaside Resort and Spa. March 15th through 17th, room 412. Deluxe King Suite with ocean view. Robert had told me he had a real estate investment conference that weekend. Downtown Convention Center. Nothing fancy. He'd even complained about it, how these mandatory networking events were exhausting at his age. We're both in our mid-60s now. He'd retired from his architecture firm 2 years ago, but he still consulted occasionally, still went to these industry things. I'd never questioned it. But the Seaside Resort wasn't downtown. It was 2 hours up the coast, a place known for romantic getaways and couples retreats, not business conferences. I sat there staring at that email for a long time. My hands were cold. The room felt suddenly smaller. We'd been married 41 years. 41 years this coming May. We'd raised 3 daughters together. We'd buried his parents and mine. We'd weathered his drinking problem in his 30s, my cancer scare in my 50s. We'd made it through everything together. Or so I thought. I clicked on the email. The reservation was for one guest, just him. There was an add-on package listed. Couples massage for 2, scheduled for Saturday afternoon. Dinner reservation for 2 at their signature restaurant, Bella Vista, Saturday evening at 7. For 2. I closed the laptop carefully, like it might explode if I moved too fast. My reflection stared back at me from the dark screen. An old woman with short silver hair, wearing reading glasses and one of Robert's old college sweatshirts. When had I gotten so old? The back door opened. Robert, returning from his morning walk. "Margaret, you up? I grabbed us some fresh bagels." "In here," I called, surprised by how normal my voice sounded. He appeared in the doorway, windblown and smiling, holding up a paper bag. At 67, he was still handsome, still had that easy grin that had made me fall in love with him at 23. Gray hair, a few more pounds around the middle, but those same warm brown eyes. Were those eyes lying to me? "Everything okay?" he asked, his smile faltering. "You look pale." "Fine," I said. "Just tired." That night, I barely slept. I lay there listening to him breathe, watching the numbers on the alarm clock change. At 2 in the morning, I got up and went downstairs. I made tea I didn't drink. I stared out the kitchen window at our dark backyard, at the garden we'd planted together last spring, 41 years, and I didn't even know who he was anymore. By morning, I'd made my decision. If Robert was going to the Seaside Resort, so was I. I waited until he left for his Tuesday golf game. Then, I called the hotel. "I'd like to book a room for March 15th and 16th. "Certainly. Let me see what we have available." The cheerful voice on the other end clicked away at a keyboard. "We have a standard queen room with a courtyard view on the 3rd floor. Would that work?" "3rd floor." He was on the 4th. "Perfect." "That's perfect," I said. The next few days were torture. I watched Robert pack for his trip, watched him fold the new shirt I'd bought him for Christmas, the one he said was too nice for everyday wear. He was whistling while he packed. Actually whistling. "You sure you don't mind me going?" he asked Thursday night. "I know we usually spend Friday nights together." Friday nights we'd watch our shows and share a bottle of wine. Our routine for 20 years. "It's fine," I said. "It's good for you to get out." He kissed the top of my head. "You're the best, Mags. I'll miss you." I couldn't even look at him. Friday morning, I watched him drive away. Then I went upstairs and opened my own suitcase. What does a 64-year-old woman pack when she's following her potentially cheating husband? I stood in front of my closet feeling ridiculous. Finally, I grabbed comfortable pants, a few plain shirts, a jacket. I packed the auburn wig I'd worn to my niece's theatrical production of Chicago last year. She'd insisted all the aunts needed to dress the part for the 20s themed after-party. I'd felt silly in it then. Now I was grateful for it. I added sunglasses, a silk scarf, different makeup than I usually wore. Would it be enough? After 41 years, would Robert even look at me? Or had I become invisible to him long ago? The drive to the Seaside Resort took exactly 2 hours and 17 minutes. I'd driven it dozens of times over the years. Robert and I had spent our 10th anniversary there, our 20th, back when we still did things like that. When had we stopped? The hotel looked exactly as I remembered. Elegant white buildings cascading down toward the ocean, manicured gardens, couples walking hand in hand along the paths. I parked in the back lot, took a deep breath, and put on the wig. It felt strange, the unfamiliar weight of longer hair. I added the sunglasses, the scarf, darker lipstick than my usual nude shade. In the rearview mirror, a stranger looked back at me. Good! The lobby was bustling. A wedding party seemed to be checking in, bridesmaids in matching robes squealing over champagne. I kept my head down, approached the desk. "Reservation for Margaret Wilson," I said, pitching my voice slightly lower. The clerk barely looked at me. "Of course, Miss Wilson. You're in room 315. Here are your keys. Elevators are to your right. Enjoy your stay." I made it to my room without incident. It was nice. Smaller than what I'd expected, but comfortable. A queen bed with crisp white linens, a sliding door leading to a small balcony overlooking the courtyard. I could see the pool from here, and beyond it, a glimpse of the ocean. I stood on that balcony for a long time, trying to calm my racing heart. What was I doing? This was insane. I should just call him, confront him directly, ask him what the hell was going on. But I didn't. Instead, I stayed there on my balcony, watching couples come and go, wondering which one of these women was meeting my husband. At 4:30, I saw him. Robert, crossing the lobby below, heading toward the elevators. He was wearing the new shirt. His good shoes. He looked happy. My stomach twisted. I waited 20 minutes. Then I changed into different clothes, adjusted my wig, put the sunglasses back on, and headed downstairs. The hotel bar was called the Sunset Lounge. It had floor-to-ceiling windows facing the ocean and comfortable leather chairs arranged in intimate clusters. I chose a seat in the corner with a good view of the entrance and ordered a white wine I had no intention of drinking. At 5:15, Robert walked in. My breath caught, but he was alone. He sat at the bar, ordered something, chatted with the bartender. Normal, casual, waiting. Waiting for who? I pretended to read the menu while watching him over the top of my sunglasses. He checked his phone twice, looked at his watch. Was he nervous? I couldn't tell from this distance. At 5:30, a woman walked in. She was younger than me, maybe 50, blonde, well-dressed in a cream-colored pantsuit. She spotted Robert and smiled. I stopped breathing. She walked right up to him. They hugged. Not just a polite greeting, a real hug. She said something that made him laugh. He pulled out the bar stool next to him, and she sat down. I couldn't hear what they were saying. They were too far away, and the bar was getting crowded now, filling with happy hour guests. But I could see her touch his arm when she talked, see him lean in close to hear her over the noise, see him smile at her the way he used to smile at me. The wine in my glass trembled. I realized my hand was shaking. They stayed at the bar for nearly an hour, talking, laughing. She showed him something on her phone and they both bent over it together, their heads nearly touching. At one point, she reached across and straightened his collar, and the gesture was so intimate, so familiar, that I had to look away. When I looked back, they were standing, leaving together. They walked out of the bar side by side, her hand resting lightly on his arm. I waited 30 seconds, then followed. They went to the elevator. I hung back, pretending to study a hotel brochure, watching in the reflective surface of a decorative mirror. They got in. The doors closed. I watched the numbers above the elevator light up. 4th floor, his floor. I stood there in the lobby, in my ridiculous wig and my dark sunglasses, feeling like the world's biggest fool. 41 years, 3 daughters, a lifetime together, and he was upstairs right now with some blonde woman in her 50s, in that deluxe ocean view suite. I should leave. I should get in my car and drive home and call a lawyer in the morning. But I couldn't move. I couldn't make my feet take me toward the exit. Instead, I found myself walking toward the elevators. I rode up to the 4th floor in a haze. The hallway was empty, quiet except for the distant sound of a television behind one of the doors. I walked slowly down the corridor, reading the numbers. 408. 412. I stopped outside his door. I could hear voices inside. His voice, deeper, and hers, higher, saying something I couldn't make out. Then laughter. Both of them laughing. My hand was on the door handle before I realized what I was doing. It was locked, of course. I stood there anyway, frozen, my hand on the cold metal. What was I going to do? Knock? Burst in? Confront them? Can I help you? I spun around. A housekeeper stood behind me with her cart, looking at me with concern. No, sorry, wrong room. The words came out strangled. I hurried back to the elevator, punched the button frantically. When the doors opened, I practically fell inside. I made it to my room, locked the door, and sat down on the edge of the bed. Then I cried. For the first time in years, I let myself really cry. Not the dignified tears I'd shed at my mother's funeral or when our youngest daughter moved across the country. This was ugly crying, the kind that leaves you gasping and snotty and wrecked. I cried for the 41 years I thought we'd had. For the man I thought I knew. For the woman I used to be. The one who believed love was enough. When I finally stopped, it was dark outside. The bedside clock read 8:47 p.m. I'd missed the dinner reservation hour. They were probably down at Bella Vista right now, eating by candlelight, holding hands across the table. My phone buzzed. A text from Robert. Hope you're having a good evening. Turning in early? Long day tomorrow. Love you. Love you. I threw the phone on the bed like it had burned me. I didn't sleep that night either. I sat on my balcony in the dark, wrapped in the thin hotel blanket, watching the stars. Around midnight, I saw couples walking on the beach below, silhouettes against the moonlight. Happy people, people whose husbands didn't lie to them. At some point, I must have dozed off in the chair because I woke to sunlight and the sound of seagulls. My neck hurt. My eyes felt swollen. I looked terrible, even worse than usual. I ordered coffee from room service, showered. Put the wig back on. Though what was the point now? I knew what I'd seen. Putting on a disguise didn't change the truth. But I couldn't leave yet. Some masochistic part of me needed to see more, to confirm what I already knew. At 10 a.m., I positioned myself in the lobby with a newspaper I pretended to read. At 10:30, Robert came down, still wearing yesterday's clothes. He looked tired but happy. He went to the hotel restaurant, sat at a table by the window. 5 minutes later, the blonde woman joined him. They ordered breakfast. I watched from behind my paper. They seemed comfortable together, easy, the way Robert and I used to be, before life got busy, before we fell into the routine of existing parallel to each other instead of with each other. After breakfast, they walked out toward the pool area together. I followed at a distance. The couple's massage, that's what they'd booked, wasn't it? My stomach churned. But they didn't go to the spa. They went to the conference center. There was a sign out front. Real Estate Investment Seminar. Pacific Northwest Chapter. Wait. What? I moved closer, staying behind a pillar. They walked into the conference room with about 30 other people. Through the glass walls, I could see them taking seats. The blonde woman went to the front of the room, picked up a microphone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Day 2 of our Investment Strategies Workshop. I'm Linda Chen, and I'll be your facilitator today. My head spun. A workshop. A real workshop. She was the facilitator. This was actual business. But then why the couple's massage? Why the dinner reservation? Why all the secrecy? I stayed there, hidden behind that pillar, feeling more confused than ever. Through the glass, I watched Robert take notes, participate in discussions, laugh at something Linda Chen said from the podium. It looked exactly like what he'd told me it was. A business conference. But I'd seen them at the bar. I'd seen the way she touched his arm, the way they'd laughed together. That wasn't just professional. Was it? The morning session ended at noon. People filed out, chatting in small groups. Robert and Linda came out together, still talking. They walked toward the hotel restaurant. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to know. I started to follow them, but I wasn't watching where I was going, too focused on keeping them in sight, and I walked straight into someone coming out of the gift shop. We collided hard. I stumbled. Strong hands caught my arms. Whoa, careful there. A woman's voice. Are you okay? I looked up, and my heart stopped. It was my daughter, Sarah, my middle daughter, who was supposed to be in Portland this weekend for her friend's baby shower. Mom? Her eyes went wide. Mom, what are you? She stopped, staring at my auburn wig, my sunglasses, my completely different outfit. What are you wearing? Sarah. My voice came out as a whisper. What are you doing here? What am I doing here? What are you doing here? And why do you look like you're in witness protection? I opened my mouth, closed it, had no idea what to say. Sarah grabbed my arm and steered me into the gift shop, away from the foot traffic. Mom, talk, now. So, I told her, everything spilled out. The email, the hotel booking, the blonde woman, the touching, the laughing, the dinner, the massage appointment. How I'd been following them, watching them, and I didn't understand what was happening, but it was killing me. Sarah's expression went through several changes as I talked. Confusion, shock, and then, strangely, something that looked almost like amusement. Mom, she said when I finally ran out of words. Mom, oh my God. Linda Chen? The workshop facilitator. I saw her name tag. Mom, Linda Chen is married to Dad's college roommate, Uncle Philip. Uncle Philip. Philip Chen, who lived in Seattle, who we had dinner with every few years when we visited the city. His wife was, oh God, she was blonde, around 50. They've been family friends for 40 years, Sarah continued, her voice gentle now. Dad would have told you she was running the workshop, except, she paused, bit her lip. Mom, you can't be here. You have to leave, right now. Why? Sarah, what's going on? I can't tell you. But Dad can't see you here. If he sees you, everything is ruined. Mom, please. Trust me. Just go home. Trust you? How can I trust anyone when my own husband is planning your anniversary surprise? Sarah interrupted. There, I said it. I wasn't supposed to tell you, but you're here dressed like a cartoon spy, and this is insane. He's planning a vow renewal ceremony for your 41st anniversary. Well, 41st and a half, technically, because he couldn't get everything organized by May. I stared at her. What? Dad booked the hotel for this weekend because Linda was running this conference and he needed to meet with her about something, but also because he wanted to scout the venue. The seaside resort is where he wants to hold the ceremony. He's been planning it for 6 months, Mom, with me and Jess and Amy. We've all been helping. The hotel, the guest list, the catering, everything. But the couple's massage, the dinner reservation. The dinner was with Linda and Uncle Philip to go over details. Uncle Philip is here too. He's presenting at the conference. And the spa thing. Sarah pulled out her phone, scrolled through texts, showed me, look, booked massage for M, Saturday, 2 p.m., she'll love it. Booked dinner for us, Bella Vista, 7 p.m., so we can go over final seating chart. M is you, Mom. He booked the massage for you. For when you come here for the ceremony in 2 weeks. I couldn't speak, couldn't process. The separate hotel room is because he wanted to walk the grounds alone this morning, take pictures, visualize the setup. He didn't book it for himself. It's going to be your room when you come back for the renewal, the ocean view suite. He wanted to make sure it was perfect. All the air went out of my lungs. Mom, why didn't you just ask him? Why this whole... She gestured at my wig. This whole spy thing? Why hadn't I? Because we'd stopped talking years ago, really talking. Because we'd become ships passing in the night, comfortable but distant. Because I'd forgotten that trust is something you choose every day, not something you earn once and keep forever. I thought I'd lost him, I whispered. Sarah's face softened. She pulled me into a hug. Oh, Mom, you're the only person he talks about. Do you know he has a picture of you in his wallet from your first anniversary? Still, after 41 years. He showed it to the wedding coordinator here, told her he wants everything to look like it did that weekend. I was crying again, but different tears this time. Now go, Sarah said firmly, before he comes out and sees you. Drive home. Act surprised when he gets back tomorrow. And for the love of God, get rid of that wig. You look like you're about to rob a bank. I laughed through my tears, took off the wig right there in the gift shop, ran my fingers through my real hair. He can't know I was here? If he knows you followed him because you thought he was cheating, it'll break his heart. He's been so excited about surprising you. He's really planning all this? A vow renewal? With the help of 3 daughters who have been lying to you for months. We're terrible at it, by the way. It's been exhausting. I pulled her into another hug. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for not actually confronting him wearing that ridiculous disguise. The photos would have ended up in the wedding slideshow. I drove home in a daze. The same highway, the same 2 hours and 17 minutes, but everything felt different. The sun seemed brighter, the ocean more beautiful. Robert came home Sunday afternoon. I was in the kitchen pretending to make dinner, though my hands were shaking so badly I could barely chop vegetables. "Hey, Mags!" He came in, dropped his bag, kissed my cheek. "I missed you. How was the conference?" "Boring. Too many PowerPoints. But productive." He grabbed a beer from the fridge. "Hey, I saw Philip Chen there. Remember him? College roommate?" "Oh, how is he?" "Good. His wife Linda was actually running one of the sessions. Smart woman. Anyway, they send their love. We should have them over for dinner sometime." I nodded, focused on the carrots, tried to keep my voice normal. That would be nice. He moved behind me, wrapped his arms around my waist, rested his chin on my shoulder, something he hadn't done in years. "I love you, Margaret," he said quietly. "I know I don't say it enough, but I do. Always have, always will." I turned in his arms, looked at his face, really looked, the wrinkles around his eyes, the gray in his hair, the same warm smile I'd fallen in love with 43 years ago. "I love you too," I said, and meant it more than I had in a long time. 2 weeks later, we drove back to the seaside resort. Robert said it was for a romantic getaway, our anniversary celebration, even though our anniversary wasn't for another 2 months. I pretended to believe him. When we arrived, there were white flowers everywhere. Our daughters were there, dressed up, crying happy tears. Our grandchildren, our oldest friends, 50 people we loved, gathered in the garden overlooking the ocean. "Surprise," Robert said, taking my hand. "We're getting married again." And we did. In front of everyone who mattered, we renewed the vows we'd made 41 years ago. We promised again to love each other, to choose each other, to show up. That night, in the deluxe ocean view suite, Robert told me about the planning, how hard it had been to keep the secret, how Sarah had almost ruined it last weekend. "Last weekend?" I asked, my heart skipping. "Yeah. She called me in a panic Saturday morning. Said she ran into someone at the hotel who looked just like you, but in a weird wig. Can you imagine?" I told her she was seeing things. "Imagine that," I said, and kissed him before he could see my smile. I never told him. I never told anyone except Sarah, and she kept my secret the way I kept hers. Some things are better left unsaid. But every time I look at my husband now, every time he reaches for my hand or smiles at me across the room, I remember the fear of losing him, the relief of being wrong, the lesson learned about trust, about communication, about not letting the years of comfort turn into years of distance. Marriage is a choice you make every single day, even after 41 years, especially after 41 years, and I choose him. Every single day, I choose him.